show I don't care. Didn't mean to throw away this once in a lifetime of chance being with you. And I'll try for 2 hours to bring butterfingers. I don't mind the distance, this kiss makes a dance. This time I surrender my everything. Forever, life doesn't matter, just our souls together. Pride no longer has room in me. On bended knees in public I cry your name for everyone to know that I love you, I love you. Please hear me now. And I'll try for 2 hours to bring butterfingers. I don't mind the distance, this kiss makes a dance. This time I surrender my everything. Forever, life doesn't matter, just our souls together. This time I surrender my everything. Forever, life doesn't matter, just our souls together. And I'll try for 2 hours to bring butterfingers. I don't mind the distance, this kiss makes a dance. This time I surrender my everything. Forever, life doesn't matter, just our souls together. This time I surrender my everything. Forever, life doesn't matter, just our souls together. This time I surrender my And I'll try for 2 hours to bring butterfingers. I don't mind the distance, this kiss makes a